All right, everybody, welcome back and bear down. Thanks for tuning into the channel. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed by now, I would really appreciate it if you consider doing so. But we have some great content on here. And that's evidence this morning as I woke up. I was actually taking a little time to myself this weekend and not going to make as much content and take a little break for a couple days when I woke up this morning and I saw on football night in Chicago on NBC Sports, Mark Carman had Clay Harbour on his show, and they discussed the narrative against Justin Fields. And to do it, they pulled up some stats. I'll show you. Actually, let's show their stats. Here's their stats they showed up, and it's via Pro Football Focus. So this is available to anybody. You have to compile them, though. You have to be able to pull this together out of there. But it's available to anybody with PFF. That they show the stats of against Justin Fields' narrative, the hateful narrative against Justin Fields, the passer rating when targeted to DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, as opposed to all the other receivers who I've been pounding the table on here are not 2, 3, or 4 receivers. That if you take DJ Moore out, we have the worst wide receiver room in the entire NFL. And there's reasons for that. And if you go back and look at my videos, you'll be able to see that the Bears haven't had the luxury of that draft capital, leading back to Ryan Pace trading away our draft capital and the decimated state the Bears were in when Ryan Poles took over. There was a reason he's been preaching brick by brick and having to rebuild this team from the bottom up. And wide receivers are a luxury piece, that it's not always nice or it's not always available for teams to be able to draft in round 1 or 2, where those are your premium picks and they make an impact on the team. That would be at a sacrifice to players like Darnell Wright last year when we have such a decimated offensive line. That was important last year. We had to do it. We had to go out and sign Montez Sweat last year to build the base of this team up. But as you look at the stats they pulled, the contested catches on our 2 main primary quality pieces of targets, DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, 53.6 and 44.4. Reception percentage, passer rating when targeted high, drop percentage low. Then you compare the rest of the team, and these guys look like they shouldn't even be on NFL teams. Well, let's go back to, I know they're not as pretty, not as neat, but I've been pounding the table with this since early January. So these stats are available to anyone, but I compiled this and I've had it on my video for over a month. And this isn't just a pat me on the back, but I'm going to say I think the narrative is about to change. You even see a couple fake news articles coming out in the last day or two. Let me read one of them. Breaking news via Adam Schefter. The Bears are deciding to keep Justin Fields and trade the number 1 pick. Now, that was from a fake news site. It was clickbait. But you're starting to see more of it where people are talking about keeping Justin Fields. Clay Harbour was on the show, and they also talked about other narratives that are against the grain, against the national media. And Mark Carman was actually entertaining it, so I appreciate that. But they talked about maybe trading down with the number 9 pick and getting Jackson Powers Johnson. That's interesting. Interesting hot take. So it might be changing, guys. The narrative might be changing. They might be starting to look at the stuff we've been pounding the table here for months about. That Justin Fields will not be successful just as much as Pat Mahomes wouldn't have been successful on this team if you don't fix the offensive line and you don't fix the wide receivers. The next thing you're going to see come out is the sack hit hurry rates and the other stats we've been bringing up about his pressure being higher than anybody else except Geno Smith last year and number 1 in the league the year before, 2022. Those pressure rates aren't made up. These stats we come up with are from via Pro Football Focus. The same place that their cute little, this is straight from their show last night from NBC Sports Chicago, from Football Night in Chicago. This is straight from them. Then you go back and look, straight from what we've been talking about for a month. The narrative will change. And I've told you guys before, this decision could be coming very soon. It's just a matter of when Washington will decide to play ball and give us the right amount. I'm going to address one other thing. We've talked about different trade scenarios and what they mean. A lot of you were saying, that's not enough to be able to trade from 2 to 1. Go back and look at my video on realistic trade down scenarios and what it means with the value of these trades and where we trade to. A lot of fans think we need to fleece the Commanders for more than 1-2, 230. Now, these aren't completely accurate now. This is 1-2, 236, 240, and a future second or a future first. That value continues to rise as Caleb Williams gets more value. in the national media spotlight, or as the Bears then announce eventually right before the combine or right after the combine, depending on how the Washington Commanders want to play ball. They might realize before the combine that they don't want other people talking to the Bears as much as the Bears have been talking to the Commanders. They don't want them to get somebody else to say, you know what, the deal's not struck yet. We're going to jump in here. We want to show, just like the Panthers last year, that we want to control this draft. We're going to give you a freaking haul. We're going to give you a generational haul. At that point, the Commanders can say, we don't want it to get to that point. We want to handle this now. We're going to give you 1, 2, 236, 240, and a future first. These are things that are coming up in the next couple weeks, so it's a very exciting time to be a Bears fan. I just wanted to point out that things are starting to change. Things are starting to come around, and people are going to realize, as we've been pounding the table, that we're not the only ones out there, but we're the first ones out there. So if you want more breaking good analytical content about the Bears and where they stand and where they're heading and what they're doing, tune into channels like this one because I will give it to you straight. I'll give you an analytical approach. Until next time, bear down.